Hello my friends and welcome to another episode of Digital Escapism. Just like a viral disease, we are hard to get rid of, but like an old friend, we will always welcome you. So light the fire and sit down and join us as we discuss all things games. I'm joined by 5 delinquents and rogues. Some call them friends, I call them acquaintances, and in some cases, Tom's case, enemies.
It's because we all hate Tom. That's why that joke's so funny. I know I do.
No,
yeah.
A gentle dislike sometimes.
It's a strong hate for me, at the very least.
We've got a full house today. So I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, my co-pilot, Mr. Jack Folkard.
Greetings, creatures.
Mr. Triple A himself, the man with an opinion on everything, Tom Pryor.
Hiya. Triple A stands for arsehole.
Mr. Details. I envy his ability to know more about me than the industry. I generally do. Mr. Chris Horton.
Hello, everybody.
And something's not quite right about him. I have filed a police report. It's Nick Rowe.
Thank you.
Who is it? Who is this guy?
I don't know. Sometimes he joins us.
How did you get into this room?
Nick, how did you get here?
Every so often.
I
drove here, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick, being the renegade that he is, doesn't he have a what's it when you have like a name in inverted in the middle? Nick Death Row.
I like it.
He's definitely on some list somewhere. And last but no means least, the man who makes everything work, and he looks good doing it, Joe Chesney.
Hello.
And me, your host Greg Roke, to take you on a journey through madness and confusion, but sometimes some clarity about games. Before we get into things today, guys, be sure to join us on Twitter. It's DE_podcast. Show us some love and visit us on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, where there are sometimes pictures of me and Jack looking very sexy.
Show me the love.
But there's also lots and lots of pictures and posts about games. Very much breaking news on there as well. And you can find links to all of those on our website, which is digitalescapism.co.uk. Also, be sure to find us on iTunes. I can't force you. I can't put a gun to your head. I wish I could. But if you leave us a review...
I wish I could.
I wish I could
literally come to your house,
knock on
take
your
out
door.
a gun.
No, we can't. We've got to stop saying that. Joe told me last time that I've got to stop giving out baseless threats about reviews.
Okay, yeah.
He keeps... You know, if you noticed last week's
At some
episode,
point, when you do it too much, it begins like it's not funny anymore. It's a genuine concern.
It starts to sound a little bit aggressive.
Okay, well,
but I'm not going to beg, but you know, if you want to go on iTunes,
there's got to be a comfortable.
There's
got to be a comfortable middle ground between begging and putting a gun to their head. How about we just ask nicely?
I'll ask nicely, but if I know that you haven't reviewed it and I find you shopping in Morrison's, I am going to go down on my knees and I'm going to start begging you in the middle of Morrison's. Why didn't you review the podcast for Digital Escapism?
Or just clip you up with all.
Yeah, probably. And you can find us on all good podcast apps as well. So,
and iTunes. Today's
episode. Shut the fuck up. What have you been drinking today?
Well, I could slate iTunes. I don't care.
We're going to... Right, okay. We're not going to mention that. Okay. Today's episode is a mailbag episode. We reached out to the community and we asked them to send us some questions to get to know a bit more about us, a bit more about our views. I think it's a good idea. I think it was a good shout. Mm-hmm. What episode is this? 11, 12? What have we got 11. Is it 11?
It's 11.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a good point to kind of open the stage up a bit. We've got some really, really good questions. Yeah. And you know, the community out there is amazing. So I just want to reach out to anyone that did send us a question and say, you know, well done.
Yeah, I just also want to add on there that obviously we got our website, Digital Escapism, and we are going to be putting a lot more stuff on there. We're going to be throwing up some photographs, and also we're going to be doing some writings that we're throwing up there, reviews of games we're playing, right. Opinions we have on devices and things that we've been experimenting with and getting down with. So do keep on top of the old website, and we'll let you know when things get updated on there as much as we possibly can, and we'll try and get it updated weekly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to writing some reviews with you, Jack. I think there's definitely going to be some extra insight that we can put on there that way.
Oh yeah.
So, as I was saying, community, fantastic, loads of lovely people out there wishing us loads of love.
We do have some good fans, don't we?
We do. I mean, the first comment we've got was from Alan Torgwa, I want to say Torgwa, and he said to us, "What is this fucking dross?" That's a really positive question. Does anyone want to kind of give Alan a little bit of feedback?
What is this? What is this dross?
What is this?
I don't know what it is, but you can get it the same time next week.
For the same good price. How do you call something dross when it's free?
I don't know. Well, we said, thanks for your comment.
Oh, I love that.
He commented back and said, fuck your bullshit self-promotion, giving money to fucking Facebook to get exposure. Basic human.
He is basic human.
Human.
A basic human wouldn't give money to Facebook.
Send him some love. But I've got a serious question now, so let's move on. Block out the haters with them shades. Mark Strudwick has sent us a question, and he said that he wanted to get our opinions on eSports. So he's gone into a bit more detail, and he said how it divides people. Some people are like, what's the point? It's not a sport. But some people think it's the future. Like football teams starting FIFA teams, that sort of stuff as well. Whether we think it's got any legs. And obviously, where we feel that sits within the industry. So I think he's given us a lot of kind of topics to discuss there. So I'm going to open up the floor to you guys.
Cool. I honestly, because of the country we live in, don't know if it can be a future in England. Perhaps definitely more in America and some of the Asian countries. I would love for it to be. But there's a big thing in England where it's like it's football or it's nothing. Like perhaps maybe rugby. Or boxing. Those are the only other two sports.
But some of those big football teams are now employing like e-gamers or eSports guys.
Absolutely.
And they're playing under, say, Man City or something. So
and that is a good way.
I think this is where the question originated from. So
I feel they're doing that more to diversify them as like a company and like possibly promote. Because I'm assuming. Obviously, Manchester, their pro team is like a FIFA pro team. I don't know if that's... FIFA, So, I mean, it's like, we've got our professional football FIFA team, but let's also have a FIFA eSports team, so we're always promoting ourselves one way or the other. It would be different if Manchester had their own, like, CSGO team. Don't get me wrong, I think it's got a place in England, but whether it's going to catch on as much as it has in America... I don't know for 100%. I don't know if it can. I would love it too, because that may be the only professional sport that I can actually do something in. But it's just one of those things where if enough passionate people in England get behind it, you'll see something actually come about it. I mean, we're at All Gen at the moment, and Shane's
Rep All Gen.
So just let everyone know we're currently recording in All Gen. Which is a different change because we usually have a little studio. But yeah, I mean they're just starting up their own little pro league team here for Smite and CSGO.
CSI Go.
I would play the shit.
That's the competitive detective game. CSI Go. CSGO. Yeah.
Yeah, they do another one for Miss Marples. But yeah, so I mean, if more and more people get passionate about it. Then perhaps it can in England, but I just worry that it's potentially not going to because I do feel that England's got that whole vibe of football or nothing.
Yeah, look, here's my bottom line on this.
Slow down, Chris.
Every sport really is determined, or the popularity of every sport is determined by the audience. You can't deny that. That's why in different countries, different sports are, more popular than others or whatever. The thing is with eSports is I don't really see an audience for it because you don't spectate it in the same way. Like, it's very hard to spectate an e-sport. Like, fair enough, like a good example of an e-sport that you could spectate potentially would be like FIFA, like what you was just talking about. But in terms of like, first person shooters or whatever, how do you spectate one of them? Like, I mean, what do you have all 24 people in the game like in tiny little screens and you watch all of them, or do you have a spectator? And even then it's not very like, I don't think it's very engaging for an audience because it's all about being somewhere and creating an atmosphere, and if you haven't actually got a physical thing in front of you to look at, I don't know. I don't see an audience for it. I feel like esports is for the players. It's for the people taking part, and because
rather than the audience.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's why I feel like it won't ever reach the heights of other more mainstream sports. I could be wrong. That's what I think.
I'm going to disagree with you because I think there's a huge audience for it. I mean, you just need to look at some of the CSGO championships. Where they're set up, is it EdXL in London, Nick? Some of the ones they do, I'm not sure whereabouts it is.
Yeah, they had a a big one at Wembley
Huge.
Arena.
Yeah, I mean, one of my bosses from work and his son went to watch it because they're into gaming. So I feel like there is an audience there, and I feel like this is a classic case of maybe not. I wouldn't say the culture comes from America. You're right, Jack. It comes from Asia, but things taking time to penetrate the UK. You know, like skateboarding, things like that. They start somewhere else, and then that culture slowly comes across to us. I feel like I get your points. Like, you know, historically, football is you know, a sport for people to watch. You know, and stadiums have been built specifically for it. So you're never going to be able to beat where you've custom built a whole venue for one specific sport. Are you really? Like the whole makeup of it is set up in order to watch that way. But there is a sort of there is a growing audience for it, and I would like to say that I enjoy esports to some level, because what I like that I get from it, I suppose, is if there's a game that I specifically like, let's say Halo, let's say Rainbow Six Siege, I might not be playing the game, but I might like to maybe watch a stream on Twitch, a live stream of a championship.
To learn how to improve.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Learn, you know, where there are some great sort of tactics to use and stuff like that. I can only speak from my own personal sort of motives behind watching it, but I feel like there's a big audience there for it. I mean, Nick, you was going to say something. What were you going to say?
I think it needs to be more accessible.
Yeah.
Like all gen are doing their own thing, which is really good, but I don't know of much between playing in your bedroom to playing like in front of thousands of people. I don't know of much that's in the middle.
You got to get high rankings.
Well, you've got things in the UK, like you've got the I series, multiplayer I series. That's only sort of like cost you about £90 to enter it, and you can go and take your computer and compete in the tournaments and bits and pieces.
What games are featured in that?
They do. I think. I mean, I haven't looked for ages, but
Hearthstone.
I think they do all the like the MOBAs. Like they've got all that Dota and League of Legends stuff like that.
I will.
But they would. There's definitely FIFA there as well. I don't know if they still do Call of Duty.
England, yeah, if any esports going to launch in England, it's going to be FIFA. That's just a sickness that just won't die. But I will tell you, I will tell you something that is a really good gripping esport. I think we spoke about this quite a bit, but I will just say a really good esport to watch, which I find really gripping, is StarCraft esports. Like, watching that is like really intense. Like the people who narrate it like it's a wrestling match. Like they'll be like, "Oh my god, he's just come up from behind him with bow," and like really kick off. So there's a lot of energy in it, and it's like a lot of stuff going on. And they make it look. The thing is, they make it look so easy. Like, oh, I can do that, and then you lose 22 games in a row.
StarCraft, is that the strategy game?
That's
the RTS?
That is huge. Tom, what are your thoughts, mate? I'm curious to know what you think about esports. Do you enjoy it? Do you see that there's an audience behind it? I mean, it's your opinion, man. So, I mean, that's what they wanted to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't really watch it, or...
You wouldn't?
No.
Have you watched any? Have you tried watching one before of a game that you're into?
No.
I'll tell you what you should do. When there's a Rainbow Six one, it's a good idea to watch it. I really enjoyed it when there was one for it. I think it has to be a game that you enjoy.
Yeah, that's half of it. I'm just not really too interested in watching other people. I'd rather sort of jump on and play. Yeah, my time's quite limited when it comes to things like that, so I'd rather be playing the games rather than watching them, I guess. But
I think that's a good point, though, because there is a group of people that don't play games as much but like to watch people play games. Otherwise Twitch wouldn't be as big as it would it?
Yeah,
and there's another group of people that I would probably put all of us on this table on that prefer playing games. But I do know a few people that will come, you know, and I'll talk to them at work and stuff like that, and they'll say, "Oh, I've been watching this stream, I've been watching this streamer," and I think, "Oh my god, you spent like, you know, a fair few amount of hours watching this guy or this girl." And I kind of just intermittently sort of pop in and out sometimes. Usually if I can't sort of afford a game, or if I'm a little bit unnerved to buy a game, or if it's a game that I maybe know that I'm not very good at. Dark Souls I've probably used an example for. So I think there is that audience, isn't there?
Never watched a Twitch for an hour.
I agree as well. I think that there is definitely a massive audience for that, in terms of, you know, like let's plays and long plays and people that like to watch games. But I don't necessarily put them in the same basket as the people that, you know, like when you watch sport because it makes you feel a certain way, you know, like you feel a passion for it or whatever.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's what brings out, and I think the people watching Let's Plays and the people that want passion.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're the same audience.
Can you imagine growing up with your son? Oh, son, I remember in 2017 when the FaZe clan took it on that Call of Duty championship. You had to have been there, son, when Dad was watching that on the PC. That was intense.
When you was only a lad, you know, I was storming the Russian front.
The only thing I would say, just coming back to the original question, is in terms of the football teams that are back in these eSports, I think you'll find it will be them forward-thinking business teams, somebody like a PSG, somebody like a Man City, where they run it like a business.
Totally.
It doesn't surprise.
Yeah, it's a very business decision. I think you're right.
It doesn't surprise me to see them sort of teams backing it just to get involved in that sort of
they're
thing,
just
get
promoting their
exposure to
brand.
their product.
But then I think a lot of things are only made possible by promotion. You know, you've got to agree, haven't you? There's a lot of things that have started, and the only reason they've started is because of promotion, basically. So there's a lot of stuff out there where it wouldn't be possible without backing and stuff like that.
Just quickly as well, I'm a big Tottenham fan, and today we've confirmed finishing above Arsenal for the first time in about 22 years, so just massive.
This isn't the place for football.
I just want to rub the boot into
Let's
this.
move on.
Move on. Mark, thanks so much for your question, bud. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate that.
Along with all that WWE talk from the last one. It's 45 minutes.
All right, got another question. This question was sent to us on Facebook by Simon Sayers, and he said, "How did we all meet?"
I love you, Simon.
Sorry, that one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd say so. Me, Greg, Joe, Nick, and Chris. We all actually met in school. We all went to the same secondary school together, and then one day we were all driving along in Joe's windowless van. And we just saw this young man walking around with a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt.
Jogging bottoms.
Yeah, jogging bottoms, and we were like, "Hey!"
So we stopped and gave him a different T-shirt.
Get in the van. We've got some WWE tickets if you want to come, or WWF as it was.
Did we get marker pen and write on the side of the van, WWE tour? Come and see Stone Cold Steve Austin inside.
And he got in the van, and he never looked back since. But he's not been able to because the van's windowless.
But yeah, serious question. Aside from Tom, we all met from school. So shout out to Valley Park.
Yo.
Yeah, shout out to that place.
Yeah,
how did you?
It taught me a lot about fighting. And
Chris, how did you and Tom meet?
Well, what can I say? It was a mild summer evening. Yeah.
Because me and
the
Tom
lights were
together.
low. The sun was
I don't know.
glistening
I can't
over
remember
the
how I
sea.
met you, mate. I think we obviously met through a mutual friend or.
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
it was
We-
as well. I
yeah.
think it was possibly Matt. It could have even been Simon, to be fair. The
Oh,
guy
friendship
asking the
sounds very
questions.
It was love at first sight.
I
Right,
remember
guys?
being really excited because you played Pro Evolution Soccer and I like Pro Evolution Soccer. So I went, oh mate, let's come around and play some Pro Evo together.
Yeah,
Did you know
yeah.
saying that sarcastically? Goes, yeah, I love Pro Evolution Soccer. Do it! I'll be around your
And
house.
I think we kind of just enjoy the same bands and stuff.
Yeah, that's
and
it. Yeah, the
films and
rest
that,
the rest was history.
Oh,
Yeah.
As Jack mentioned, me and Jack work together.
Yep, we certainly do. Not going to mention
When we
that.
say work
Ice cream
together,
van.
I work for Jack. He bosses me around.
And if you actually want even more detail, this is how deep the rabbit hole goes, right? Because
Jesus
me
Christ.
and Nick actually met each other at nursery when we was about, 3?
What?
Wow.
He was
So-
trying to get away then.
I once had Greg round my house at a house party, and he screamed at goths to get out of my house during a house party.
Fair.
I don't know if you ever know this. I had a house party, and there were a bunch of goths outside my garden I didn't invite. And I went out to them and I said, "Excuse us, guys," because they were all smoking weed out in my garden. I said, I don't know you guys. Do you mind leaving? Because I didn't invite you to my house party." And they were like, "Yeah, we'll leave. Sorry, man. We're just having a good time." "Yeah, no worries. I just didn't invite you. I don't know who you are." I goes, "Yeah." So they're all leaving nicely.
And then
Then out from the top of the stairs on my little sister's moon bounce, drunk out of his mind, face so red because he's been sniffing like pepper and smashing his hand with a hammer trying to be. Do you remember when he used to do that? To try and be on Jackass? and he screamed, goes, "Yeah, get out, you fucking goths!" Almost kicked off right at my doorway. Thank you for that, Greg.
It's a very strange phase in my
It was
life.
a very strange phase, and then at one point you started crying because you wanted to stay around my house, and I was like,
Yeah, I must have forgotten that bit.
because there was a brief period where we went to school together, but then we did speak for a while, and then you were around my house, and then you were like, "Please let me stay around your house. I'm too drunk to go home."
Jack.
But God, yeah, that's.
I think one of the games we always talk about is Siege, and I personally got involved in this group through Siege.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
I mean, we really, obviously, us, a lot of friends, and Tom really got involved with us through playing Siege because he a mediocre player and we needed more.
Well, let's get this right. I am probably the best here.
When did you get MVP last, Tom? Because every time I've seen you play with Greg, it's Greg, and last time you were playing with just me, and it was me who was MVP.
But to be fair, Greg always lucks in, and he'll get like 1 kill, 4 deaths, and he'll still be MVP somehow.
The thing with MVP is it's subjective.
No, it ain't. You get the more points, the more help you do.
That's right. So I am, for once, one of the guys that's helping out the most.
It's a bit of a running joke we got here where when we play together, Greg will get less kills but higher points and beat out Tom for MVP by like 100, 200 points almost every time.
Yeah. This is the trick, right? You get on the cameras at the start, you find the objective with a drone, you're laughing, you get all the points.
Use your barricades.
Use your barricades.
Yeah, that you do.
What else have we got?
So thanks for that question, Simon. Appreciate that. And
yes,
I think it was good to have that recap because we covered it in episode 1, but I think it's nice just to kind of let people know where we're from.
Can I just say hello? Can I just say hello to Simon as well? Because I haven't seen him for a little bit and I know him as well. So, hey man.
Hey buddy.
You know.
I should point out as well, there will be a lot more questions of people that we don't know. These aren't just where we've begged friends and family. There are some fans out there.
That guy who said this is Dross is actually my stepdad.
I think that was
You're a
actually
disappointment, Jack. You always have been.
No, that's my dad.
It was my alter ego. It was me.
What were you saying there, Joe?
I think it is actually a woman.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
anyone could
you
be an
say it
arsehole,
was
Joe.
Alan something?
it says
It was
Alan.
Alana.
Alan.
Listen, I'm not sexist. Male or female, go fuck yourself.
Did you just assume my gender?
Triggered. Right, next question's from Stephen Papas. Will Nintendo get their heads out of their arses? He's very angry at Nintendo. Like
Come at me.
There's a lot of sort of hidden hate there for Nintendo.
I want to feel the venom in the voice.
Yeah, can you imagine him just typing very
Get
angrily?
really venomous. Get really angry with it.
Will Nintendo get their heads out of their arses, this is American, and produce more SNES classics than they did NES classics? So what he's trying to say, because I sort of got a bit confused and sort of messaged and said, what are you talking about? He's basically saying, well, he's assuming that they're going to make a SNES Mini. Okay,
yeah.
so
Right,
replace the word classics with minis, and he wants to sort of make sure that when they make them, they make enough. So it sounds like maybe he was one of these people that wanted a NES Mini, but in America it was even worse than here, where there was just scalpers galore, and we've covered that. So I guess he's assuming that A, they're going to make SNES Minis, and B, is there going to be a limited run or is there going to be a big run again?
Does he mention games? Does he specifically?
No, I think he meant to say instead of classics, minis.
Oh right, so he doesn't mean
he
doesn't mean like the NES, the old ones.
Well, this is what I meant. I first commented and said, "Well, you've missed your chance there, bud," because they stopped making them in the 90s. But he means the system. So he's basically effectively saying like, are they going to make SNES Minis? No. And if they do, is there going to be like a continuous run?
They are going to make them, and no, there's not going to be a continuous run. That's a really easy question to answer. I'll put money down on that they'll make like 5 to 10,000.
You think it'll be a limited run again?
Yeah.
Within like Europe, 5 to 10,000. America, 5 to 10,000.
Because
maybe 20.
They don't want it to be they want it to be like a little special thing, really, because you know they've got the virtual console on their own console, so it doesn't. Like we've had this discussion about splitting the market, haven't we, and all that. So it doesn't make sense for them to keep selling, you know, loads and loads and loads of them. I don't think they're going to do a limited
If they
run.
do it, it will be a very limited run. I can totally understand where he is at though, because people want that thing. It's really cool.
I think people are disappointed they couldn't get one, but Nintendo are full of surprises. I mean, just today they announced a rematch. Well, not today, obviously, it'd be in the future when you hear this. But recently they announced a remap Nintendo 2DS XL, which looks really nice. And that just come out of nowhere. And I think it's surprising because you've got to remember they're promoting a Switch right now, yet they're still bringing out DSs. So I know we're not sort of big portable gamers, but some of us around the table have Switches. And I think it's a bit surprising to see that they've put money behind that, where it didn't necessarily need to come out, because clearly they still want to support the DS.
Get to work on a Pokemon game.
Next question, Nintendo shit.
Oh my god. Right, well the next question is about Nintendo, so
let's go.
Stay tuned, Tom. David Ginsberg asks from Facebook, one of the questions I'd love to hear a discussion on is, Does Nintendo need to be competitive with Sony and Microsoft
Good question.
in their hardware, as
Good
in...
question, and no, they don't.
Hang on, there's more to this question. In their hardware, as in system specs. In his opinion, I don't feel they need to because of a few different factors, but he'd love to hear us sort of debate that.
Wow, well, who's asking for this guy's opinion? You're not on the pod, mate. Like, you asked a question, you don't give us an opinion.
What? Don't go after our fans like this.
No.
What's
Who
his
do you
name?
think he is?
His name's David Ginsburg.
David Ginsburg. I'm sorry for Tom. He doesn't like Nintendo.
Everyone's trying to get airtime.
He's not trying to get airtime.
Can I
What are you
point out?
talking about?
Let me just give you a bit of background. I've spoken to David before. He's part of a group for people that have their own podcasts. So I think he runs his
So
own
not just a
lane.
fan, but a
Stay in your own
connection.
lane, Grinny.
What is wrong with you? It's like,
You're alienating the world today.
Let's just help out this new podcast team. I'll ask him a question. He goes, go fuck yourself.
Well,
Let's actually answer this
let's
question.
answer the question.
Yeah,
No,
this is
they
a
need
good
to stick
question.
to doing their own thing, which is the family market, the kids, and their own little space.
Oh, Nintendo.
Nintendo do, yeah. They're not going to compete with the big boys.
So-
And to be fair, there is a niche for them.
There is
That little
absolutely
handheld
right, there is
market
a
is
niche
pretty
for
good.
them.
To be fair, like that, they've got that cornered.
I feel like what they do when they do it right, they do really well. I don't think anyone's going to kind of come here and say that's wrong. I mean, when they make a game or a system, they aren't swayed by what are Sony doing? What are Microsoft working on with Scorpio? They know that they don't attract that market, that demographic, but they do have a clear passion to do things very well in their own games and their own
It
franchises.
looks like they do the party game stuff really well.
I mean,
I think so, yeah. I mean, there's a huge market for Wii's and all of the sort of interactive games they sell with that. But
for a creative company like a video game company to be really successful, and ones that have been really successful, they need to do their own thing and be true, and not worry about what other people are doing. Look at the Kinect. Like the Kinect, it basically came about because of how successful the Wii was.
That's
and
true.
how and they were like, let's do that, let's get on that, let's get on that. And then the PlayStation was like, let's get on that, let's get on that. And the Kinect and the PlayStation camera.
was the iToy before Wii though? On the PS2 it was, wasn't it?
iToy,
Yeah,
probably. Okay,
Oh, girl.
Okay, well, the Kinect was a drop, wasn't it?
The iToy didn't sell well though.
the
To be
Kinect
fair, the
didn't do
iToy
well.
didn't sell
The
well.
iToy didn't
To
do
be
well.
fair, the thing that's actually probably more similar that did come out after was the Move controllers.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The Move
Yeah,
controllers.
no, I think
and
you have a point.
they were at the time. Obviously, they're coming out with VR, but at the time they were like really bad. And Kinect was awful. That's if you've ever want to play the world's most awful game, it's on Kinect, and it's like what is it called? Like Steel Battalion on Kinect.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
so
right,
good
yeah, I've heard that.
God,
as a
that
nightmare,
is
yeah.
a nightmare
See,
to
apparently
play.
it just didn't work.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I was
was really
like
badly matched.
doing like this movement all the time and trying to pull this, like do one of them and try and activate stuff. It just
People
wouldn't
can't see what
happen.
you're doing, but it looks like you're pulling a trucker's horn right
Yeah,
now.
I know. I was like trying to do I didn't have it. My friend had it, and we were just like really trying to get it to work. Like all night. We actually had the original Steel Battalion that was on the original Xbox, where you had like a huge panel that was like worth like over £200. It had like buttons and levers, and that was the sickest setup in the world. And then to go to this Kinect thing, oh god, that was a nightmare.
I'm waiting for Chris to say something about Kinect and Peter Montague.
Oh no, I
come
don't want to
on.
get into that conversation.
All right, no worries. But there's a very interesting story.
there is. I
along
want to
the
go
lines of that.
back on topic, to be honest with you.
No worries.
In terms of the question, I think it's a difficult one. I think because obviously Microsoft and PlayStation are very similar,
Yes.
and I think Nintendo actually do quite well to keep out of their sort of market.
I don't think there's space for three, is there?
No, and see the thing is with Nintendo is it's like nothing else. Like, you know, you've got the other two consoles, and even down to like the button layout and how the buttons work and what you expect them to do is all very similar. And yet you go over to the over to Nintendo and they just do their own thing, even down to the buttons that you have to push. You know, even silly things like to advance the menus and go back. It's not the buttons that you'd expect. And I think that's where they do well, really, when they're doing their own thing. So I think the more that they can, I actually feel like the more that they can estrange themselves from that mainstream market, the better they'll actually do, and the more niche customers they'll pick up.
Thanks for that, man. Well, we've got another question from Cody Harlow, and they've said, what games are you not willing to play unless you have someone to play it with? Soggy biscuit.
Soggy biscuit.
Oh, God. I saw you write that joke on the messenger. It wasn't funny then. It's not funny now. You're doing it live. Well, obviously,
You've always got to give insight to everything that just ruins the whole setup. Like, you don't watch an episode of a comedy show and they go, "Oh, I remember you writing that joke. It was not very funny then, and it's not very funny now."
well, maybe they should try something new like that.
It was funny because I put the crying face emoji on my own joke. Therefore, it was funny.
Jack's the guy in the audience at like a magic show going, "I saw what you did there. I saw what you did.
Yeah,
you put it in your pocket."
He's the one that watches a comedian and calls out, "When you going to tell some jokes?" But back on topic, seriously, what games are we not willing to play unless you have someone to play it with? I'm going to start very straightforward. Smash Bros. I'm not going to play Smash Bros by myself. What's the point?
No,
But I'm going to play Smash Bros with you guys after we finish recording this podcast.
Yep.
And I'm going to kick your asses mark.
You're going to try desperately.
I will win.
I love fighting games. I play fighting games by myself a lot because nobody likes playing them with me. I think I don't know. I don't think I really have a game that I wouldn't play by myself. Mainly because I didn't used to have that many friends. Like I've got like 4 friends. So no,
You're going to have 3 if you don't answer the question.
So I honestly don't think there's any games that I wouldn't play, other than obviously party games where you have to have more people.
I wouldn't play. Me and Chris have been playing Alienation, but I wouldn't play that by myself. Well, for a start, 'cause I made you buy it, and now it's in the PS Plus free games. Sorry about
What's
that,
this,
mate.
Alien Isolation?
Alienation. It's a follow-on from Dead Nation. It's a
right.
top-down, like co-op-y, go through the world, really cool physics. I forced Chris to buy it.
I got that game. I play it with you if you want.
Oh,
Fuck
really?
off then,
Oh,
Chris.
sweet.
Me and Jack will play.
You're a knob, mate, right?
I know,
Because
it's very
literally, he's banging on to me, buy it. I was like, oh, alright then, I'll
You
buy
did
it.
buy it.
So I buy it reluctantly, for like £60 or whatever.
Yeah,
It's not
played it.
too sad, so like it was in the sale, so I didn't get completely mugged off. And then literally, I'm like, right, we're going to play it then, I've bought it now. Yeah,
played it once, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, we played it once
Yeah.
for about 10 minutes,
Then I went
right?
to bed.
And then literally, I've had it for ages, we haven't played it, to the
Yeah.
point where now it's the fucking free game, isn't it, next month?
Oh no,
For the record,
savage.
this always happens to Chris
I'm
as well.
absolutely heartbroken.
I don't always mug you,
don't
but you
play
always get the
horror
games
games
that
by
go in the
myself.
sale, didn't
Yeah.
you? Or the free games, whatever.
So for me, I think I'm right there with you, mate. Isometric shooters, anything like that, like Alien Nation, Dead Nation, Helldivers.
That's a good game.
I fucking love Helldivers.
Helldivers.
That was cool. If you've got that, we
Yeah,
should play that.
We
again.
should play
I
that
like
because that is
Alright.
a really good game.
And also, what was the other game? I just had something else. It was right on the tip of my tongue. Borderlands. I would not play Borderlands by myself. That is
Yeah,
fucking
that's
boring
not
as
that-
fuck
You'd
on
get
your
bored
own.
of them lands.
Oh.
Oh, punny
God.
pun. What?
And that, so obviously by extension that goes for other similar games. I wouldn't play Division by myself. I wouldn't play Destiny by myself.
Anything with raids.
Anything like that. Yeah. I mean, not
Well, he's not going
necessarily.
to solo a raid, is he? Leroy Jenkins.
But even though there are parts of them games that you could potentially play single player, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Borderlands doesn't have raids and that, and I wouldn't do that. No.
Okay.
Do you have time for one more quick question?
Oh yeah, we've always got time.
One more quick question.
One more quick question. Let's find a good one.
I just want to say thanks everybody for these questions.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
I apologise on Tom's behalf for him just going mad at someone for no reason earlier.
Poor guys. It's like, I've got to ask them a question.
I know, yeah. So I want to thank that
Punched
guy
in
for
the
his question
throat.
because it actually was. It was a good question
God
as well.
bless
You know.
him.
There's so many
That
questions
guy.
here. Actually, I'm really surprised by the amount of questions we got. Really detailed questions as well. There's another question here from Nick Howe, and he says, "We're waiting for game delivery to evolve into digital delivery and a Netflix for video games to emerge. What's your take on game delivery once physical discs get quote blockbustered?"
Did you know this has already happened? This
Okay.
is a cool little story. Yeah, Sega TV done something similar. We had it at our house. You'd like tune into a channel on Virgin, and it'd be like Sega TV, and you could play all these games like over the power of
Really?
the cables. Yeah, legit.
No
yeah,
way.
yeah. We subscribed to it for a couple of weeks, but we already had most of the games.
PlayStation also has PlayStation,
PlayStation now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
can
I
I
can-
give you a bit of background on that just before you guys
Throw
get
it
into
up.
that? Recently, PlayStation Now stripped the amount of devices that supported PlayStation Now,
Yeah.
and they've really brought it back to sort of basically your console and your Vita, and that's it. So they obviously had planned for it to be bigger, and now they've sort of made that smaller, basically.
Just to pitch in there, I don't think it will happen anytime soon. I personally quite enjoy having a disc and having a collection.
Yeah.
And to have it all as a subscription-based model I don't think would suit the developers or the consumer right now. But I think it's inevitable that it will go blockbuster at some point. It will
There are
just die
some
out.
people that still can't download it like in time.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And what about the patches as well? Would they come preloaded? I guess it'd make it easy for patches because it would be the most up-to-date version of the game.
But then they would never update it.
They never update it. Interesting. Don't know.
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, see, I it's a really tough one, this, because I can see where the future in other media is going in that direction, like you mentioned Netflix and things like that, but for me personally, it's hard to apply that model to games in the same way and be successful. Like, the PlayStation Now never really, that whole thing never really grabbed me. I thought it was too expensive for what you was getting. And also I think time is a big factor, This is the problem for me. I think if you've got a lot of time, a subscription service like that, you'll get value for money out of it. But I think if you're like, if you struggle for time, which I do these days, I don't think I'd get the value for money out of the subscription service.
Do you know one of the things that I find is quite curious, right? Why do digital games cost more money than a physical game? Surely it must cost more to print a disc,
That drives me
package it up,
crazy.
send it out. Does that not drive everyone mad?
Yes, it does. I have no idea why that's the case. I'd love for someone to explain it.
But what you do see is you see deeper sales eventually.
What, across digital?
Across digital.
I think you're right. Digital
So
sales have gone up.
It starts off in terms of the base price of a game, so it'll be on there for like $49.99, but eventually it will be cheaper in a PSN Easter sale
Right.
than it would be in store. Recently, someone's picked up a game for like dirt cheap compared to what it was in the store.
Yeah.
Just going back to that subscription model, as you guys know, I'm massively under the thumb, and I can't justify that
You said
direct
that.
debit going out. So at the moment, I can buy my games and sort of like hide the receipt, but that direct debit, I'm going to struggle to sell that. Sarah, if you're listening, please, please let me.
I
Please,
think
babe.
it's a great idea.
I knew you was going to chime in because I would say
You're
you're
so
the
lazy though.
you're the exception around the table where I think I could attest to everyone other than you that most of us buy our games on physical discs. Where I know you, Joe, majority of your games are bought digitally.
So you must live in a shoebox. Like, that's the only benefit I see, is not having the clutter around. Like,
Well, maybe Joe can explain why he feels that he prefers to play digital and purchase them.
So he
Well,
can hide
I
his
just-
purchases from his alternative partner.
The reason I buy digital is just so I don't have to get up and put the disc in.
That is the worst explanation, you lazy shit.
That's the main reason. But getting
extra tenner.
But getting games when you want them on a subscription sort of service, I think is great, because
Yeah.
you can sort of just pick and choose what you want to play. If one day I want to play sort of the old Mass Effect games, I haven't got to trawl through fucking PlayStation Store, find where it is, buy it, to play it for 3 hours, and then never play it again. But with a subscription service, I can go play it, and it doesn't matter if I don't play it again, because there's so much other stuff that I can pick out and play the next day.
Yeah, I
There
think
are,
that's a good point. I think the main difficulty that you'll see is all of the developers getting on board to get on there, because we see this with music and films. Not everything's on Netflix, and they're not going to do the back catalogue straight away. There'll be a big fight there to get their just rewards.
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well.
look how music has changed, man. I mean, come on,
So
look how
used to
it's
get them
changed
all
in
on.
our lifetime. Like, we would all go out and buy CDs from HMV. But
Tapes.
I mean, when was the last time any of you bought a CD? I mean, Spotify,
Never.
iTunes, they've absolutely dominated it, haven't they?
I tell you what would make that model absolutely boom, and is they could emulate the games on like an Android phone or something. So you have your subscription model, and you're streaming off of basically a console that's running the game. And if they could get that to work, that would skyrocket them, because it would be so handy. Like, everyone that wants to play like on their way to work and stuff.
You can do that, not console games, but you can do that on the PC with if you. There's a
NVIDIA
tablet
Shield.
called
you
NVIDIA
can do it on
Shield.
the Vita as well, can't
You
you?
can
On
pull your
tablets,
games down from a computer and just play it. And there's also
What's the
Steam
one on,
Link
What's
as
the
well.
one on PC? I swear there's one on PC, and I don't know if this was like some sort of showcase video that I saw for
Dream.
it, but it had like loads of little TV screens like all around the thing, and it had a guy, and he'd just like click on one, and it would bring the game up, and then he'd literally like just be playing it like. and all the other things were like other people playing the game. Do you remember seeing something
that
like that?
That was a scene from The Matrix. With the guy sitting in a big chair, he's been trying all the
creator, he was called.
The creator, he's watching the guys in the shower.
But I saw it somewhere, and it was one of these it was like a showcase for an early model of like a streaming service.
Steam did this thing before. I think they moved over to the Steam console when they brought out the Steam console called Big Picture.
Which was that console.
You could basically turn your Steam library into a library that you could get on your TV. So you just had a controller, and you could just navigate the whole menus and everything.
Yeah.
You didn't have to have a mouse and keyboard to.
I think Steam, if anybody is really going to try and start push for a model, if any company's going to do it, I think it's going to be Steam who's going to push for a model like that, where you can just keep getting your games when you need it, and just making sure they've got a continuous revenue, and really just like undercut all the other ones like Sony and Microsoft. But just come straight here, we'll give it to you. I think they were maybe potentially trying to do something similar to that with the Steam box and all those new Steam consoles. Could have been a really like good little foot in the door for them to try that little scenario. But we'll have to wait and see. I think
Steam earns so much money the way it is with the purchase of games and the early access feature that they've got.
Well, if they earn so much money, why can't they bring out another Half-Life?
Do you know what's funny about Steam? Steam is like this generation's equivalent of like Windows 95. Like, you remember like when Windows 95 came out, every PC had it on it. And now, in this day and age, if you own a PC and you use it for gaming, you've got Steam on it, haven't you?
I don't. I just have Hearthstone on mine. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Most people do.
There's always one, isn't there, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. There are some services out there, though, aren't there? There's some subscription services where you get early access and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm trying
EA
to
Access.
EA Access. Thank you very much. I
think they allowed 2 weeks before Mass Effect, or it might have been a week before Mass Effect came out.
So they could play Mass Effect 2 weeks earlier and be disappointed before anyone else.
And it was the same with Battlefield 1 as well.
Slam.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed chatting
about some of them questions. No, yeah, those are good questions, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, we're running out of time now, aren't we, Tom?
Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Yeah, so, I mean, just a shout out to all the other people that sent us questions. Jeremy Collins, Erica Jones, Richard Griffin.
Ben Dover.
These are real people. Lawrence Sims, who just commented why with 7 question marks and then realised that we weren't a post about Syria. Bless you, my friends. I understand.
Lee Harfield.
It might just be worth mentioning as well that we've got so many questions and so many good ones as well that we might in future episodes just answer a few at the end. So if you haven't heard your question read out today, stay tuned. You never know what might happen in the future.
Yeah, hold fire.
Never know.
Yeah, don't answer it in the question though, because we're here to answer the question.
It's not. Do you actually have a problem with that? Is that going to be the new the Switch console? The Switch game is too small.
I want to hear their opinion on it as well. Yeah,
that's his opinion.
Yeah, and I want to hear.
I want to hear yours.
I'm putting this pod out so you can all hear my opinion. I haven't reached out to you to see it. So on that note.
Funnily enough.
On that note.
The hate you're going to get.
Yeah.
Bring it.
From me.
And your opinions suck, man.
Well, I'm just the working man here, just trying to earn a dime.
Remember, there are 5 of us in this room that really appreciate your questions, and we are here to give you, a bit of background, but also to engage with you as well. But there is one individual that is here to give you his opinions and his view. So we're always available to do that.
So don't expect anything else.
Listen, guys, thank you so much again for listening to us. We really appreciate when you take time to download this podcast and listen to us, in your car as you're in the operation, being a doctor, and you're cutting someone open. I'm sure that happens every day. But it means a lot to us, and all of those people that do that, you're the reason why we're still here, and you're the reason why we are still going strong after 11 episodes. Clearly this isn't a flash in the pan. This is something that we're really all enjoying. So just remember, when we said at the start, be sure to head over to digitalescapism.co.uk. Be sure to go and sort of engage with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Hit us up on iTunes and all good podcast apps. And we will see you next time, my friends. Have a very good day. Take care. Bye.
Peace out.